All yours.
Good evening, welcome to the lounge room, the locker room, the laundry bag, whatever you like. It's Dougie Hodgson and yours truly, Greg Blake, in the house, coming at you live from Heidelberg United Alexander Soccer Club. Kalapaska for everybody from last weekend. Dougie, Kalapaska from you.
Good
I
to
hope
see you,
the
mate.
eggs were in abundance.
220 was left in our house.
Fantastic. So
The Easter Bunny had been, he planted all out the back, and the kids, the way they went with the little baskets. And I just, as you can see, I put a little bit of weight on this week, Greg.
You know, you still look fantastic.
Thank you, Mary.
And we have no guest, all right? And I can tell you right now that Doug Hodgson is not responsible. The responsible party is in the club room.
He's in the room. He's in the room.
But hopefully, look, we're going to come good next week. We've got a couple of terrific guests lined up. But the truth is, because we were away last week, because you were forced to Facebook or play online games or watch porn instead of watching us, and that's your loss, clearly. But we have got an absolute abundance of things we want to talk about tonight. Before we do that, just the backdrop tonight, we've managed, what we're doing, we're trying to encourage Alexander to actually set up, because there's an absolute treasure trove, an Aladdin's cave, if you will, of trophies and photographs and paintings and all sorts of stuff around the club rooms, which we've been remarking on in recent.
Well, we've got down if we go down the Hall of Fame, I suppose we could call it, Greg, but we come in, as you come in, some of you guys back home might not have seen it, because when you come into the players' entrance where the boys come in and get changed, all the way down the corridor is players' shirts, photos of the generation of Heidelberg. So maybe that could be an idea for me and you to go down memory lane.
Down memory lane, and hopefully at some point when the club gets the opportunity, a lot of this memorabilia will be put into a museum, if you will, a Hall of Fame, you know, on its own, because there's some fabulous stuff. We won't dwell on that now.
Can we get rid of the photo where I got hit and shouldered by Francis then?
No, I believe that should be the cornerstone of every display.
Still love you, Francis.
So, no guests tonight, but you've got Dougie and I. We've got Dougie's shirt coming up, all the VPL news. Big game for Alexander. Alexandros. I think they're back in town. There's been a couple of delistings, if you will, at the club, and we'll talk about that. Fantastic, Dougie. You know, look, honestly, good folks at home, seriously, and that's why I'm giving the eye contact. Seriously.
Are you sure?
I have, absolutely. I've had a great day. You know, I've had a great day today. The sun has shone just a little brighter. The colours are a little more lustrous in my world. Music has a new resonance and and tone, and I'm in a really good place, Dougie.
Blakey's here with us all, raring to go. We're going to talk about, we're going to bring the A-League in a little bit today, aren't we?
We are,
We're going to talk about the A-League. We might talk a bit about Greg. For you people that don't know Greg Blake, I was lucky enough to meet this gentleman when I started my adventurous career back in 1990. You'd been well and truly on the tracks before 1990, Greg, weren't you?
First paid gig was in 1979. I saw my first game in 1976 before the old NSL had even started. So I'll tell you a bit about it.
Veteran of the game, gentlemen. To the people that don't know, Google Greg Blake. You'll see some funny little pies getting eaten or maybe splashed. Google Greg Blake. He's a legend out there in the... Used to work for the SBS, but we're going to come back to that later on, guys, and we're going to discuss so you guys know who I am lucky enough to sit next to when we're here doing this locker room, which we still haven't had a name, have we?
No, we haven't. Oh, look, we're
waiting for you.
The locker room, and look, that's a really good segue, Doug. It was an accidental one, but
yes, I know. I just
no, you're very good at that. Dougie, what I'm fascinated about is not only about, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from a supporter. I've actually made contact with another supporter.
You hang on. Guys, I'm getting a bit disappointed here and lonely. I'm feeling lonely. So you've had two supporters that have emailed you.
I have, but this one's a surprise one, from Oregon.
Well, do you know her?
States.
Oh, from the States?
Oregon.
She awesome.
She's she's actually a he.
Oh, that's okay. He's okay. That's all right.
And as a result of the locker room, he's actually said to me that he's a supporter now of Heidelberg United Alexander, because they won't do wonders for membership sales, because clearly he won't be buying
a little bit too far. Did he tell you how he got onto us?
Actually, no, and I've emailed back to find
out.
So
stay tuned, viewers, for that, because we'll bring that in all the way from America. Heidelberg is in America at the moment, guys.
We're spreading the World Wide Web, and that's why it's called the World Wide Web. In case you didn't know, it signifies www. I am so smart.
I've just learned that. Blakey's just learned. There you go. I'm going to take that home for the kids.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Well,
Dougie, let's lead with the VPL news. Of course, it's been a particularly elongated third round of the competition. We were here to call the game between Heidelberg and Richmond on that very, very cold and brisk Sunday afternoon a couple of weeks ago.
Very windy too on it, mate.
Very
Which we're going to roll with the wind and the sun and the wind and the rain, and we're going to let them roll with that because they've had a week off. They're coming in now, mate. They're there this weekend. Heidelberg's playing the Stars.
And we'll talk
it's
about
going to be a winner.
Whack me with the results
Oakley
from the remainder of the
2,
round.
Moreland 1, and Dandy Thunder, good old C2. We're going to get CT on here, we're going to bring him in.
Good.
Melbourne Knights is 0. Bentley Greens, Southern Stars 0. Bentley 2, Southern Stars 0. Green Gully 1, South Melbourne 0. So South Melbourne supporters out there, I think they might have been expecting to win that one. Was it 2? So I've got that. We've got a take coming in here.
It was 3, was it, Sweetie?
Was it 3?
Thank you.
3. Sorry,
Sweetie
we've got Sweetie on camera. So Green Gully was 3, and South Melbourne were 0.
Making Green Gully the team to beat again.
3-1. We've got it right. Sorry, viewers, we've got it right. Who wrote this for me? It looks like me 5-year-olds out there. Actually, he's got me right, you know. 3-1 to the South Melbourne supporters. You can do look at that. We're very sorry about that. And good luck next week. Northcote 1, Hume City 1. So there's a couple of surprise. Yeah, I thought South Melbourne might have been a little bit strong, but Green Gully's been head above everyone in the last couple of years, so no surprise there to a direction. Which
leads us into, of course, on the weekend, it's round 4 action in the Victorian Premier League, and a really, really big game for Heidelberg United Alexander. They travel to Kingston Heath Reserve, the home, of course, of Bentley Greens, is a landmark there for you. 7 o'clock on Saturday night. It's the Southern Stars against Heidelberg United Alexander or Alexandros. And I've just got a feeling, I've got a sneaky feeling.
They're going to sneak up and get the result?
Yeah, it's a big game. Southern Stars, just with the 3 points, so they actually Heidelberg can leapfrog out of the danger zone. It's a very, as you mentioned before, Doug, it's a very tight race.
It's going to be a tight race. I think it'll go all the way, Greg. I think last 2 years of the BPL, you know, you can be third off bottom on X amount of points and win 2 games and win 1 draw. One you end up just making just outside the finals. That's how close it's been. So it's going to be another, by looking at these results, I think it's going to be another tough year. So the burgers down there all the way down near my pack here. So if you think, pack your lunch, jump on the camel, and you'll be down near Frankston in no time, guys. And when you get there, just remember, add another 20. That's where I live every day. It's brilliant down that way. So big week for Andy and the team this week. I hope the supporters can get down there and support the burgers. You know, they need probably a bit of morale. And I suppose when we played, mate, the crowd, I don't know if you guys realise, but you can be the 12th man. I'm sure you've heard this all before, but that 12th man encouraging and pushing your team might be able just to get them a bit more revved up, you know, because this is a make or break, really. The Burgers have got to turn the corner, but make or break, I've just said that, but it's 4 games in. Still 20 to go.
And I'll take that a step further as a former football caller on television and on radio.
SBS and radio, don't forget that, viewers.
Super
Talk about that later.
Yep. But as a former caller, it's really interesting, the dynamic and the chemistry, because not only does it affect the players on the paddock, and this is quite serious, when I used to call games, the bigger the crowd and the more involved the crowd were, the more I became involved in the contest. And I recall going to some grounds and you'd make sure that you could actually open up the broadcast windows, because once you got that crowd happening, and it really makes a significant difference. And quite honestly, quite often if you're calling a home side and they had some, you could not help but be biased. Yeah, absolutely.
And
so
it is true.
It works.
Neil Warnock, to be fair to Neil, my gaffer in the UK.
What the hell is a gaffer, Doug?
The boss. The boss.
Thank you.
The manager. The manager, the boss, the coach, the gaffer. We call him the gaffer. So when we talk the gaffer, he's the boss, the governor. So the gaffer, like he used to, and he did, how many times I've seen in the papers, he used to say that he needed his supporters behind him. And it is, when you're out there and you hear a bit of a roar, okay, the little adrenaline goes a little bit high and it pushes a bit, the confidence, and it's a confidence game. Believe in what you do, believe in how you play, and it will come.
So guys, to get you, if you haven't got one of these, well, stiff cheese, I have. That's just the way the world turns.
And looking very sharp, mate.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Nice colour coordination.
I've got the Will Schuster look. If anybody watches Glee, me, sorry, that's probably too much information. But I'm in a terrific mood, Dougie, and I'm in a terrific mood because you're here with me.
Thanks, mate.
And you're a splendid young man. Anyway, I totally missed the point. I know I'm rambling a bit. Sweetie's having a look at Sweetie's face.
That's our cameraman would nickname him.
Cameraman, Sweetie. You've got to love him. So, I have no idea what we're talking about. Yes, Southern Stars. Make sure, look, seriously guys, if you're a Heidelberg Alexander supporter or Alexandros, big game on Saturday, Bentley Greens Reserve, Kingston Heath Reserve rather. Bentley
Across the
Greens
road from DFA.
Is it really?
Yep, across the road from DFA. So I hope you don't go. Go there first, do a bit of shopping, and then come and support, guys. Because
and speaking of shopping, Doug.
we need boost. There is a boost there.
Oh.
Go to Doncaster instead. Not the DFA, go to Doncaster.
Don't go to Doncaster, grab yourself a boost, and look, if you've got car issues, if you're heading toward the weekend and thinking, oh my lord, the Vauxhall is playing up, what are we going to do? Or the Cabriolet, or whatever it is.
The Kingswood.
The Morris Minor. But if it's playing up, if you think, well, geez, I'm never going to make it all the way down to Kingston Heath, I need to go to Petters. Petters Suspension, there in West Heidelberg, to get your Vauxhall Viva up and running.
Or your Kingswood.
Or your Kingswood. Or
Petters is
or
doing
your
that
Model
there.
T.
Don't forget ANZ. And just in case, before you go to Petters, go to ANZ Bank. Get a loan.
Get a loan
And then
to get
go
your
to
car
Petters.
fixed, have a boost to celebrate, head down to Bentley Greens to the ground there.
And don't forget, Blakey, don't forget our mate the bag man. Grab your stuff, put it in the bags and take it down in the car. Throw it in the
How
back
could
of
I
the Kingswood.
possibly forget when you're yelling in my ear? So there you go.
I've got a deafness at the
So
moment.
that's the big game, round 4. I'm sorry, Doug, we
That's
did
all
get carried away.
That's
You're a
all
very sweet man. Just a little bit of team news about Heidelberg United. They've cut a couple of players, delisted a couple of players as well.
Zoyce.
Zoyce Galanopoulos has been let go by the club, which is a bit of a shame for him. And Ahmed, the Turkish name boy, whose name I can't remember.
You've been watching me commentate too much.
I have.
Because I use first name,
You
because I
do.
can't, the surnames, I don't want to embarrass myself by not pronouncing them properly.
Okay.
So, do apologise for that once again.
So-
But Ahmed, anyway.
Anyway, so a couple of changes, but I guess they had to start to ring in the changes because things haven't gone well.
I think on the flip side, I think there's a couple of more new people coming in. I think there's one person probably coming back into this new player, I may say, into the squad this week. Won't be naming names, but get in there, and he is from another club, which
Why
is
won't you
brilliant.
name that?
Because I don't know him.
Okay.
So
That's fair enough.
I know where he's from.
So that's all the team news.
Because we don't want the Stars to know if he's playing.
No,
or not.
that's fair enough. That's absolutely right. Tactically, Doug Hodgson is all
Pass
over
the
this
test.
thing. So we've gone through the VPL news. Why don't we kick it up a little and talk about the
Yeah.
A-League, which has been, gee,
What about Clive Palmer? Hey?
there's been some fascinating. So I don't know what your take is on this, Doug. And I'll preface everything I'm about to say on the basis that I am a bitter old man, and I did walk away from the game when the A-League came into being, and I probably shouldn't, but I did because I felt it was a really it was an
game lost,
affront.
honest to serious, we're being serious now, Doug is every now and then. The game actually lost a very good person when that happened. And I mean that sincerely.
And I
but
appreciate
we've got you back into the game now, which is good, and you've dragged me back as well.
I have.
So together, the two old grumpy men.
But look, I don't know. I think there's a certain dynamic amongst us. I think there's a chemistry that's undeniable. I think if one of us were a female, we'd be dating right now. Don't ever touch me. Don't ever
But
touch me.
the A-League, come on then, let's see.
Okay, I just want, and as I say, I want to preface this by saying that I probably have got a jaundiced opinion of the A-League because, and I appreciate your compliments, Doug, they're very kind. But not only did the game lose me, but the game lost so many amazing people who were involved in the clubs that had been around for 30 or 40 or 50 years. I thought it was needless, and I thought it was offensive, and I thought it was borderline racist to decide whom and which clubs would be in the competition based on, if you're not ethnic, we'll let you. What the hell is ethnic? We are living in multicultural Melbourne. So I was disappointed at the time. I thought the game was taking a wrong turn. And I don't want to say I told you so, and I don't want to feel vindicated. But listen, I told you so, and I feel vindicated. All right? Now,
But it's true.
the league is on its knees, though. The A-League is on its knees.
Given the marketing side of the game is great. They've obviously the funds, they've got X amount of funds they can do, mate, because the old National League, I was lucky to be part of it, they never had that, They've got the funds, they've got it there, but you're talking about, and this is when we discussed it in our last show when Clive Parter talked about the old shirt when he had, there's discrimination on his shirt, he was basically saying freedom of speech. And then I actually found out about who actually picks the coaches. Then I actually found out who picks the marketing people. Then I found out who picks the other coaches. The only one I think they get to pick is the assistant coach. Now, if that is a situation, these gentlemen are putting X amount of millions in per year, but not running their own business. I'm involved in a franchise, and a very great boost, and a very good one as well. But he's the money man, you're putting in millions, and he's not allowed to run, now I don't know the ins and outs all the way down, but he's not allowed to run his own business. Now I'm tipping the man's a very smart man, because he bought a hotel I used to go to in Noosa for 57 million. So, probably pocket change for him. But he's the right gentleman for the game, but obviously it's not the right thing, because he's not got his infrastructure the way he wants to run it, because now he's walked away. Now, I believe that this year, the financial side, the old A-League is 27 million is a loss. So we ask ourselves, is it in the right direction? Is it as bright as it is? We know there's certain clubs. There's been, you know, the FFA have carried West Australia. In Adelaide, they've carried different clubs all the way through Australia as well. So that's not a very good foundation.
The financial model is flimsy at best.
Yep.
Look, you know, in terms of the television agreement was very poorly negotiated, in my opinion. Sweety's writing some things
Jets,
on the
Sweety's in there, Jets.
Sweety's in there, good job, Sweety.
That's the second time on now. Jets is another one.
The Jets is another one. Look, the figures I've got here, look, I don't quote them as being absolutely accurate, but I understand that the FFA lost something in the region of $35 million over the last, how many years was it, Sweety? Quickly, that's it, just draw a figure. Over the 2011-2012 years. So over 1 year they lost around $35 million. The old NSL, it's in its entirety, over the 25 odd years, lost $140 million.
How many years did it go?
That went from 1977 to 2003.
78, so I'll be back soon.
No.
Sorry, anyway.
So
26 years.
So you do the math, and is there a reason why? And look, I think the whole private ownership thing, and I think it's been shown in not only in the A-League, but it's certainly been shown in the National Basketball League. It's been shown previously in the AFL, etc. It is not a sustainable model. And whether our figures were lower and our expenditures were lower in promotion, but the club-based membership system that served the NSL so well for 26 years, full of people who had an incredible passion for the game, And look, the other thing that completely flummoxes me is and we won't even talk about the standards of the game or the standards of play, but I keep looking at the attendance figures and I cannot for the life of me find any great difference between the old NSL figures and what we're seeing now. The only club, perhaps,
Victory.
It would be Melbourne Victory.
And I believe, Greg, and don't quote me on this, but I think they're about the most financial club as well that have braked even or made a little bit, if they have.
So my question is then, have we moved forward or have we made one step forward and about to go 2 steps back? Because the shame and humiliation that the game faces if the A-League collapses in on itself is huge and significant and will be lasting, because the clubs that were there to sustain the game before are no longer the powerhouses they were.
But the thing there, the concept, what they're trying to do, I can see, but you've got to let the people who are put this way. If I buy a business and I want to create an environment and try and make money or run it the way I'd like to, and then I've been told, no, you can't do that. Well, common sense prevails to me, Greg, is, well, I don't really want to be there because it's not my business. Am I just managing it for the FFA? Because that's the way it looks. You've got managers all the way around managing from the FA, so you've got your triangle, they're sitting at the top of the tree and it's filtered down. Are these, and I don't know, are these people letting them, are they entitled to run their business the way they want? You know, you talk about salary caps. I still can't figure out salary caps. I still don't know how it works, and etc., etc. But at the end of the day, is players.
Well, I'll explain the salary cap to you, Doug.
Okay.
Okay, you're a 6-year-old, okay?
Okay.
And I give you $10 pocket money, and that's what you've got to spend for the week, Doug. And if you spend over that $10 for the week, you get less pocket money
the week
next week. Yes.
So that's it, $10.
That's pretty easy.
That ain't going to get me 2 stubbies, yours. So, okay, so...
Sorry, I didn't mean to
we could have used a bit more money, but anyway. But the thing is, where do they go, Greg? What do we do?
No.
You know, we sit here and we talk about it. Where do they go?
Mate, I do not have the answers, but the question that I pose, and I'd love some feedback from supporters on this.
Email us. We got the email. Have we got an email? Have we got an email? We're going to get Sweetie's going to write us.
Sweetie's going to write it.
Come on, give us the email now, please. And we'd love to hear from you guys because it's we all love the game, and that's why we're here. You guys are listening to Greg and I because you love the game. So, can we make it better? Can we do it together? Is the camaraderie out there enough to make this place work? Is there enough there to get it in? We talk about the ethnics, and listen, Australian born, lived in England, obviously, etc. But let's be fair, the Greeks support the Greeks, the Italians support the Italians, and the reason they do it because they get behind their community and they help each other, and that is why financial success has done it.
And as I mentioned before in this show, that over my 25, 26, 27 year involvement as a media person, the finest people and gentlemen and gentlewomen in the game were let me think, what's the word? Ethnic people. Well, get stuffed. Okay, that's what Australia's made up of. All right, I love my involvement in the Greek community. I love my involvement in the Italian community, the Croatian community, the Serbian community. All of them. They're terrific people. Get over it, you idiots. All right, now, here's the email address. Hopefully you can pick it up. It's admin, ADMIN, at Heidelberg, HEIDELBERG, FC, Heidelberg FC, all one word, .tv. Send us your feedback, and the question that Doug and I want to answer, seriously, is really, has the game moved forward, or are we on the cusp of a huge collapse? Because I'll tell you, I remember the pipe dream that fortified us along the journey for a long, long time. There was always this, we're riding a wave and we are on the cusp of this wave breaking, and it was always going to be all these ridiculous concepts. If we get an A-League up and running successfully, which apparently we have for 5 or 6 years, if we make the World Cup finals, or when we've done it twice, etc., etc., everything's going to change and be wonderful. Well, it didn't. It's a pipe dream, it's an illusion, it's one of those things in the desert. What do you call them? You know, the things that you see.
You see water.
Yeah, but there's a word for one of those.
Sweetie, you'll tell us.
Sweetie, what are they? You have no idea.
You have no idea. So the thing is, there is one thing that's happened in the game though, Greg, it must be here, is...
It's a mirage. Sweetie scored.
Grassroots is up and running in the game.
Yep.
It is fantastic.
Yep.
The game has grown so much and it's going in the right direction.
Yep.
And that is one thing of these. But at the table, you know, not letting players go overseas, Europe, England, wherever, New Zealand, where it's overseas, across the Pacific. But we want them to grow.
Yep.
If they're, and it's no disrespect to the players coming back because they're bringing their experience and knowledge back into the A-League.
Yep.
And what does that say to you when players come back at 30-year-old, or older, just use that as a round figure, and are the best players?
Yep.
We need to generate the kids, they need to get better. How do we do it? You know, it has to be stronger. Well, supporters, strength, but we're not going to talk about the game and personnel, we're talking about the outskirts of the supporters, you know. They are not supporting.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, seriously, I remember we used to play Wollongong. You know, Wollongong's up there. You know, you're 6,000 or 7,000.
Absolutely. It's very funny that you mentioned Wollongong because before when we were having that discourse about crowds getting involved, I still recall probably the best atmosphere at any game I ever called was a finals match at Wollongong. Wollongong against Sydney Olympic, there was about 9,000 people there and it was electrifying. And Paul Wade and I had a moment that two boys rarely share. All right, you don't need to know any more about it. We were calling it.
Okay, call it
that. Now I was just going to end this whole discussion just by saying, Doug, and you suggested to me before about me and walking away from the game. The one other point that I would like to make is that. And we all know, and when I was back as a slave to the media and soccer and had to play the game and be nice to everybody, which you do, but I don't need to do that now. And what I can tell you is, in terms of administration, in terms of recycled coaches, in terms of, and this isn't across the board to everybody, but in terms of administrators, in terms of self-satisfied megalomaniac media people, etc.
You can do better than that. Come on.
The same tossers,
That's
the
better.
same arse clowns
That's
that
better.
that we put up with for 20 years, who pretty much were the mainstays of the game, the ones that dictated the course of the game, are still in the bloody game.
You know what I find hard, Greg? And I'm going to bid it too with you. It's a job for the boys. And, you know, and if your pace don't fit, it's nothing to do with your qualification.
Absolutely.
It's nothing to do, you should be in the right job, because you're the CEO and you're the brainy bloke, or you've got the qualification. And I'm going to bring me mate, Stewie Munro. Love you, mate. Yeah, we've worked together. Dandy, sorry about that, but we only won by 11 points that year. Stewie's gone over to Perth. Here you got a coach. He's been in Morwell Falcons, going back a lot, Collingwood, South Melbourne. He's been at Oakley, he's a prodigy, he's played at Rangers, been involved overseas coaching. We work together at the schools. He's gone over to Perth, he's assistant to Fergie, and he does a fair bit of work over there with him. And now, because his space so hit, you've got a man in Victoria. Hey, by the way, Victory ain't doing too good, are you guys? You've got a man here in Melbourne. Utilised, but his name doesn't fit because he didn't play for Australia. Is that right? Don't start me on Australia, I'll see you. But you've got people here that can... Sorry, I just get
terrified. He's going to nut me.
But the thing is...
Not my fault.
The people is... And listen, they're trying to bring the people, you know, the ones that have done... but is it right for the game? Because the way the direction's going, no, it's not.
No. The more things change, apparently, I promise you, good folks at home, the more things stay the same. So there's manifest change needed in the game, and it hasn't happened. And certainly the A-League, for all its benefits, has not necessarily been... look, that's just me being bit. Anyway, look, that's a rant. That's Doug and I have discussed it. We've talked about it.
I've got off my shirt.
But there are some people in the game who have... don't even get me onto it. You know what you need to get me onto, Doug?
Porn? Oh, sorry. Let's talk about shirts.
Let's talk about shorts, but before we do, I just want to go through the weekend to come again of how we're going to approach it. Doug, if you and I were a couple and we were going to enjoy the weekend together...
I'd actually go to ANZ Bank first.
Absolutely.
Make sure we're okay with cash.
And get you, and
into your bank account.
And we'd take that cash in my bank account and we would go where?
Petters.
Absolutely.
I'd go to Petters.
Petters in West Heidelberg.
Just make sure that the car's running all right.
Not sounding too good, Dougie.
Have you shampooed the battery? You better make sure. The old Kingswood Country, it was all right.
So,
anyway, and then we're going to go and pick up our bags.
Okay.
Plastic bags.
Because we might need to carry something.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Our sandwiches. Camel lunch.
A sandwich. Who made the lunch, Doug? You were right.
You did.
Okay.
I'm wearing the shorts in this relationship.
And then we head off down to... we did mention it is prime plastic bags.
Yeah, prime plastic bags,
you,
because they're... and buy any bags you need, from little ones, big ones, Rupp, everything, or you make sure you go to prime plastic bags.
And then, of course, we go down to... after we've picked up our plastic bags... and
we better nick in the boost at Doncaster, just to make... Because you'll need to be...
Duh.
You need to be...
Boosted.
Boosted all the way.
Absolutely.
Boosted, hydrated, all the way down to Kingswood Country, Kingston, and watch the Burgers smash the Stars.
Southern Stars. That's not even a real team, is it? Come on, seriously.
It's a star out of the school.
Southern Stars. It sounds like a strip club. All right. Hi, welcome to Southern Stars.
Please sit down.
Would you like a drink? So there you go, 7 o'clock Saturday night at Kingston Heath. It is an important one for Heidelberg United Alexander, so get down there if you get the chance. Dougie, just to wrap that up, there was something else. What were you saying, sweetie? Oh, yes, of course.
He was talking about Mr. Lowy.
He was talking about Frank Lowy. He's dropped us a quote. We don't want to go back to the old soccer. That's what Frank Lowy said in the media.
Now, I have to admit, without being loved with Mr. Lowy, but I have to admit, the old soccer was a lot better standard than it is today.
I think my issue with that statement is what the hell does it mean, and which old soccer are we talking about? I mean, that's just pathetic.
That's probably discrimination, really.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense. Which era do we wish to not go back to, Mr. Lowy? And you know, it is
the crowd. It could be the crowd era, because there was a lot more people watching then.
I do recall the crowd era, yes. And I recall the era when we didn't have 140 of our best young players playing overseas. They stayed here. Oh, there's a shock. Anyway.
I was overseas.
Doug was overseas, he waved the... Anyway, look, it doesn't matter, it's been a great rant. The one balming thing for me, and I've just learned this evening, and I thank you all for allowing me back into your lounge room, scary as that is just the fact that now I don't have to play nice to all the people that I used to have to play nice to just to keep a job. So all the people I don't like and disrespect and shouldn't be involved in the game get stuffed. We'll talk about that. Yeah, would we?
We'll talk about that. Blakey's feeling a lot better, guys.
I am. It's like an enema.
He's just nice and flushed. He's nice and flushed and out. But there is. But the thing is that we talk off air, of course, and there's some very valid points, mate. And you know, can we get the game? We all want the game to be successful, and that's one thing we all have in common.
Yep.
Viewers, us, we want to see the game succeed. Yep. How do we do it? We're going to get you on admin.heidelbergfc.tv, and you're going to tell us a little bit of your information, guys, about how we can address it and going forward, because at the end of the day, we want to see good soccer, we want the supporters there, we want the game to keep growing, and we want everyone to enjoy the game. But we need to do it. How are we going to do it? We'll figure it out.
I don't know. When Loie says we don't want to go back to the old soccer, there is not a day goes by that I wouldn't mind going back down to Olympic Park number 2, the old dog track, seeing 15,000 supporters packing the joint, hanging out of the grandstands to watch a Hellas Alexander derby. Oh yeah, well, no, we wouldn't want that, would we? I
think we had 18,000 out here as well.
Yeah,
like 18, and I remember, I've spoken this before. As a young 20-year-old, the horse, the Greeks, the way they had it, they had the ground, they had the make-up grandstands come in, they're all sitting. I remember it.
Yeah,
I remember
fantastic stuff. But we don't want to go back to the old. There's too many wogs, apparently.
18,000 people.
Please,
sorry.
Heavens above. And no offence to wogs, because I love them. I think they're gorgeous. Sweetie's getting a little, he's either impatient or he's constipated. So we, either way, I don't really care that much.
Just relax.
So let's finish off, Dougie, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be with you. I actually, in terms of fashion sense, along the array of jerseys that you brought along, and some of them have been particularly gaily coloured, read between the lines. But this one I really, really like.
It's not bad for white. I do look slimmer in white, because you meant to look slimmer in black, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
does your arse look big in that? No. No.
It's round the ears.
So
this is a Manchester United original.
Okay.
Paul Scholes, lucky enough to rub shoulders with Paul, name dropping again, Paul Scholes. He's an actually Oldham supporter. And I got this, to be fair, I went to a dinner once and I was next to name dropping. Andy Cole was one side. And I've been lucky enough to meet some of the Man U boys from my wife. She was a marketing manager at Nike. Okay. So, and Paul Scholes used to wear Nike boots, and that's where they're contacts. But this, if you look around, you'll see it. It's original. That's his original, and you'll probably find by these things here. Got to rub shot, lovely bloke, and I actually think, a bit of a man crush really, but he's only a little fella. He is probably one of the most underrated midfielder players in the world. Okay. He is sensational. He went into retirement, Paul Scholes, he came back, and a beautiful man. Lovely man, good atmosphere. A lot of man love, miss you, Gary Cole. I mean, forgot the bench, guys.
I'm over Gary.
I'm over Gary. Gary's I still miss you, buddy. Had your chance. But Scholesy, him and Jamie Redknapp, you're watching, but Scholesy's still going. Little fella, he's only 5 foot high, and he gets some great headers. Third man running when they split it up and get the third man running through. Scholesy's probably one of the best in the world that's done it.
Just quickly, Dougie, just a round off tonight.
I think Beckham's on there too, Bob. I don't know which one. I should have asked the wife. David Beckham will be on there. Just so you can see, guys. All fully signed.
Carrying the mark of Beckham. Well done.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere. Sierra, they won it.
Just one question. It's one without notice, Dougie, because you are a bit of a name dropper, but we've talked about nasty people all night. We've been particularly vitriolic towards some people tonight, which is kind of unfair, but kind of searingly accurate as well. What I want to do, Dougie, is just quickly ask you. You mentioned Paul Scholes. Now, let's talk about A-League stars. Let's say Paul Scholes is an A-League, not our A-League. I mean, a prime #1 champion of the game. Yeah. And we talked before the show tonight about big-headed people that understand. What I'd like to know is, all the A-list stars that you've engaged with on some sort of personal level, who's the nicest? Who's retained that sense of balance? Who's just charming regardless?
I'm probably biased here because we had a friend who came to Dandy Thunder. There's plenty of them out there. Danny Allsop,
Okay.
Danny Allsop, I don't know, I was lucky enough when I watched Danny before he went when he was at Port Melbourne on trial, and I went and watched the game, and apparently it was the worst game he'd ever played. So the report went back, question it, you know, but I found out later, Vanessa and Danny, we got to know quite well in England too, because he was at Oldham, he was at Man City, and obviously they're only about 30 k's away. So we done a little bit of, we entertained a little bit together, but he's a gentleman. He hasn't got a bad bone in him. Danny Allsop, he is, his wife's lovely. Haven't seen his wife since we've been back in Australia, but Danny Allsop's very, very good. Obviously Kevin Muscat, I see Kev obviously a fair bit, you know, with the, you know, this is the players that are here now. Obviously Kev's moved up into the coaching staff, so, you know, when there's different people around, he's got to make sure that he's professional in his environment that he's in. I'm just trying to think who else is around. I'm just trying to... What players? We've got Sweetie, Theo
No, we've got to go with Danny also. So on a week when we brought you the locker room and the whatever the hell we called, thumbs up to Danny Allsop for being a charming man.
And Jeff Callaway. The other one was Jeff Callaway. He had 6 months.
No, you had one chance. You had one chance, Doug. Don't blow it. And just on a sad note of condolence to Theo Stelamides, who we've had on the show, and he's just a gorgeous man.
There's some man love coming out.
There is some man love coming, and Theo's always been a champion of the game and a champion of the club. His father passed away last week, so to Theo and all his family, absolutely. We'll see you guys next week. Good luck to Alexiandos on the weekend, mate. Down at Bentley, down at wherever it is, Kingston Heath. We'll see you next week, Dougie. You're a true champion.
Good night, Greg.
Cheers, mate.